ABC 123. Alright, how's it looking quality-wise? How's it sounding sound-wise? Right, how's it looking quality-wise? Wait a minute. I just listened to myself on my own stream, oh no. Alright. Tell me when it's up for you.
Alright. Let me go check right now.
Because right now my little bitrate thing hasn't shown up, so I don't know if it's actually up for other people yet or not. And then showing
It
this
should
for...
show up. If it's not, then it's not streaming.
Oh, there
For
we
the
go.
most
It
part,
just
that's...
showed up.
Yeah, it should be.
And then update information. Because I'm not playing Breach this time.
Be like, fuck no, baby.
Alright. Rat boy. Alright, so this is Crowfall. You get your character, you walk around, you do the pew pew pew. I can cut people. I can shoot them with my pistol. And I can't use my other abilities because I don't use mana. I played a class that doesn't use mana. I use what's called pips, which are those things in the bottom right. And I only get those by hitting enemies.
Yeah.
Which I can also dig underground and go invisible. That's a rat boy. And I can see if I can go find something. So I can show you at least what basic combat looks like. And then also before, I have 28 minutes until the siege starts. Got a chest. Hey, free loot. Need to find something to stab. Also, they have harvesting and crafting in the game, but I'm not going to show you that.
You're not live yet.
I'm not? I'm live on my
No,
end.
you're not. Let me check right now. Hold on, I'm getting on Discord, bro. I'll be right back.
My shit not up? Hmm. We own this entire zone, don't we? Yep. I found some things I can stab. Why he ditch me? Why you do this? You back?
Hey, I'm back.
Alright.
Yep.
Is my shit up?
Yeah, your shit's up.
Okay. Okay, these are things I can stab. So I will show you how to stab.
Actually, dude, this game has pretty good, like, cool graphics.
Wait, did you say cool?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. You're the first person to say that. Other people see this and like, wow, this is cartoony and looks like shit. And it's like,
No, it looks pretty cool. I like cartoony.
like, I like it.
Yeah.
Crit that one. But yeah, if you look, as I hit things, I get those little diamonds in the bottom right. And the more of those I have when I use an ability, the stronger my ability is. That's how playing a pip class works. So rather than having to play like a, you know, mage or something that like casts magic and uses mana, I have to attack things to be able to use my abilities. But then as I attack more, my abilities get stronger. So I'm just going to put my mount on. And no, there is no graphic for the mount. I just activate an ability and start going Sanic fast. But, I will show you what I mean about the skills when I get back in the safety of the wall. And then I will explain to you why I like Crowfall, because they have a discipline system. So basically, you get your base class, and your base class has like a talent tree, so you can unlock abilities and certain like bonuses to your character and stuff like that. But then you also have what are called discipline runes that you can slot into your character, and the disciplines give you other abilities so you can augment your playstyle. So for example,
That's pretty cool.
you're going to hear this late if you're listening to me on Discord. But this is my entire, when I press K and bring this up, this is my entire, like, skill list and everything. All my passives are over here. My ults, retaliate, abilities. And then, if I press talents, this is my base talent tree for the character I picked. So I went through the talent tree, and then at the end of every talent tree, it branches into 3 things. So every class has, like, 3 branching class archetypes you can pick from.
Yeah.
So, like, they play differently. Like, the one I took is the Dirge. So it makes it gives me the ability to wear plate armor, which is, you know, big boy tank armor, rather than leather. And gives me extra caps to my certain abilities, and also gives me abilities like this one, which is my Redirect Pain ability, also heals me. So the ability Redirect Pain, if you look at that, I have all these things for the pips. As I attack more, if I get up to 5 pips and use it, I gain a barrier for 100 or for 1,400 health, and I deal 55% damage reflection for 18 seconds. So then, this upgrade I got
cool.
by taking Dirge makes that ability that does the damage reflect and the barrier also heal me while it's active. And then I get another one, which was this one? No. This one, which is my Impale ability. It makes my Impale ability, whenever I have 5 pips, it adds a stun to it. So now, with normally Impale, you do a small amount of damage, and then a person will bleed until they reach a certain health amount, which is at 1 pip until they get to 90% of their health. But at 5 pips, if I hit someone with that bleed, they will continue to bleed until their health hits 50% or their health hits 100%. So if their healers aren't healing them, I could potentially make someone bleed for 10 minutes if their healers can't get them up to full health. Or they don't go immune to damage for a few seconds or find a way to clear it. So like that's the build I went for. So you get like all these things, and like over here, earlier on in the tree, like some of these unlock your basic abilities like that one, but then some of them are like actual stat boosts. Like this one here is an armor bonus. I have bonus armor. I go to this one, I get a new ability. Then I go to this one, increases my attack power. But then I want to get another ability. Then I want extra control defense, so if someone stuns me, I'm not stunned as long. Maybe I grab this, I get armor pen. So you can like go through this and like pick the abilities you want. Like this one, I didn't take any points in this ability, energetic, because I don't care about my stamina. Wait a minute.
Okay.
This increases my basic attack damage. Hold up. I might want this. I'm glad I was showing you this stuff. I didn't realize that increased my basic attack damage. But I only have 4 points to spend. I'll hold on for that for now. But now I know. Like, you know, crit hit and all that. So you can, like, choose that. And then over here, I've got the runes that I have equipped. And basically, you get all your abilities from your class by going through your talent tree. But then you can get your rune stones. And then they come with a couple of abilities, whether it's passives or actives or other things in between. So, like, this Force Mage, I get a passive, which makes it to where all my attacks have a random chance of just giving me a barrier for an extra bit of health. So if, like, I hit someone for, like, 200 damage, I might get a 100 health barrier, so that means I get to take 100 damage without it actually touching my health bar. It's got a passive, which is whenever one of my barriers gets, you know, when someone kills one of my barriers by dealing damage to me, it does an AoE, you know, attack and deals damage and stuff like that. My other rune, then I get, you know, Runecaster. This is like a support person. I can throw down I can show you right now. If I push 8, I can show a mark on the field, and then if I activate it, I put down a little bubble, and then in that bubble, everyone takes 20% reduced damage if they're on my team.
Okay.
And then, like, I also have another one, which if I activate it, everyone gets an extra 20% or 10% health. So my health went from 9,000 to 10,000 when I activated that. And then I have, like, a couple other abilities that I slotted in because of the playstyle I want. But then you could have, like, you could play, like, a fire mage, and then you could, like, one of the professions is, like, you sacrifice your range stuff to do a lot more damage up close and have a lot more AoEs. So rather than being like I throw fireballs, you know, 30 meters away from me, you become I can throw fireballs at 5 meters, but I can also put down huge AoEs on the ground, and I do a lot more damage up close. Or you could choose to be a ranged fighter or whatever. So you have all these different ways you can, like, build your things, and you get your majors that you want to complement your build. You could be a tank, but then you could take a major that gives you some healing skills. Now, if your healing stat, which is the spirit, is low, taking a rune, you know, that gives healing would be bad. But there's nothing stopping you whenever you level from putting points into spirit to make your heals better. So you could play a tank character and get, like, constitution and spirit really high, and then you could take, like, a healing rune and, you know, do some heals and stuff. So you have, like, all these things you can mix and match. And then you have minors, which just give you, like, small bonuses, like the two I have.
There's a lot of things. I have no idea, like...
Yeah, it's a lot. But it gives you so much flexibility is the thing. It's like you can play a champion, which is what I used to play, which is a big, like, hulking, like, you know, buff dude that carries around a giant two-handed axe. You jump around and you smash people with your axe, and you get like a what's called choke slam, and you like smash the ground and do a huge AoE like earthquake that knocks people down. And I took Runecaster on him too, because I guess I just like Runecaster because it's just a good overall support utility. Because again, standing in that circle, you take 20% less damage from all sources, and you can give yourself a health boost so your healers can like give you extra health. It's pretty dope. But then, you know, I also had Destroyer, which gave me extra Fury regeneration, which is the champion uses Fury instead of mana. And Fury is made the same way Pips is, but it's like stored like mana. So like Pips go from 1 to 5, but Fury goes from like 0 to, you know, 200 or whatever. So every time you hit something, you gain some Fury. So you can like stack up your Fury for like big attacks, or just like keep spending it as you get it on smaller attacks and stuff like that. Your choice, depending on how you play. But I basically, because of the Destroyer, I built up the Fury faster and spent less of it, so I could I almost never ran out of Fury, so I could just attack a lot more often and stuff like that. So it's like, depending on how you want to build it, you can make all the decisions you want. Like whenever they did the talent split, there's now 3 different types of champion. One is like one's like almost literally unkillable. It's called a Pit Fighter. Its ultimate changes from a ground pound that like knocks people down to a super heal over time that gives you a small barrier, like a barrier for 25% of your health, and then gives you like starts healing you for like 5% of your health per second, and also makes you immune to CC and immune to damage for about 2 seconds. So you save up for your ultimate, because you have to build up your ultimate, which is the Q ability. And then when you use that, like if you're in a pinch, you're like, oh, I'm almost dead, I'm like at 10% health. You push that button, you become immune to damage for 2 seconds and just start healing super fast. Or you could play the, what's the other one? I'm just going to call it the Destroyer, because I think that I don't remember what it's called. Oh no, the Barbarian. The Barbarian focuses on doing CC. So instead of being super tanky or doing a bunch of damage, like your spin ability does, it applies a slow to all enemies you hit, but if you hit enemies a second time with your spin ability, it suppresses them, which is like a silence. They can't use abilities. So you go into a giant crowd of people, when you start spinning, you'll slow everybody, and then the second time you hit them, they can't cast. And then you get, you know, your leap ability also has a, you know, will have a knockdown on it. So it's like a heavy CC focus class. And then you could get that and like get your runes to focus on more CC, or you can get your runes to make you tankier to cover for your lack of tankiness, since you had to, you know, do the CC focus build and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. How much more time do I have? 13 minutes. And then that's pretty much that. I mean, there's too much to really go over every in-depth detail. I could log out real quick, though, as long as I'm in the castle. And I should be able to log back in where I'm at. So, I will do that real quick. I will show you all the race and class combinations now, just so you can understand what that does better after I take a swig.
When's this thing's getting started?
13 minutes is when the siege starts. Because for the big castles in the game, they have what's called siege windows. So, because again, you're trying to take over territory, but they don't want people like waiting till everyone gets offline and then going and taking all the territory. So, the big castles, you have to fight at a certain time. But the other things, like they have outposts and camps and fortresses, and all those can be taken whenever. You just take your squad, you go roll through, when you get them, and your team gets points for when you get them, and you gain points like every 20 minutes you own something, you'll gain points off of it. And the idea is, well, I can show you that now. Map. The idea is you want to have the most points and have your team own the thing. So like here's the leaderboard. You know, Balance has 7 million points. Chaos has 4 million. Order has 1 million. You know, Balance owns 78 camps and outposts, 9 forts, and 3 of the siege castles, which is what we're about to fight to defend. Whereas Chaos only has 42 camps, no forts. Order has 3 forts and 28 camps. And then they have little leaderboard stats, so you can see who's carrying. Like Balance is getting carried by Winterblades, HOA, you know, 38,000 points for their entire guild. And then you can go down here to the individuals, And like, look, Darth Bun Bun, that person, best person on the balance team, got 3,000 points, 155 kills, 7 deaths, 466 assists, 707 captures. You can scroll down to in the 50s, because I think that's where I'm at. Look at me, 59 score, 12 deaths, 3 assists, 11 captures. 8 of those deaths were me dying when I first started, because I kept trying to take a level rank 7 camp that I couldn't take on my own. The other 4 deaths were me getting jumped because I wasn't paying attention. But it's like, and then, you know, you got the leaderboards, and then you can go in and like, we don't own all of anything, but like, here we go. You can go into like the individual map zones, like this one. It's like, oh, look at that. This fort's owned by Order. That fort's owned by Order. These little camp flags over here are owned by Balance. And it's like, man, you know, I'd like to own some more forts. You go to this map zone, because there are different zones you can enter. You go to that zone, and then you're like, all right, me and my team of, 5 people are going to roll up in this fort and take it. Then you take the fort. Like right now, the fort's worth 300 points times 4 because of the it's winter in the game, and you get more points the later it is in season. So that's me and my friends went and took that, that'd be 1,200 points for our team, and then every 20 minutes we'd get 500 points per turn-in rotation every 20 minutes.
Are you gonna take it?
No, we're doing a siege. We might take it after the siege.
So when does the siege start again?
And about, well, let me go back to the map. Go to Goro. Siege starts in 9 minutes.
Are these planned by the guild or the server or
Right
what?
now it is server based because it's in pre-alpha. The plan is later in the game, there will be a declaration of siege from the enemy team, and then that declaration will be like, we are sieging you on this day. The defending team then chooses a 8-hour window, and then the attacking team chooses like a 4-hour window within that 8-hour window. So the idea is, we're saying we're attacking you, and we're like, okay, we're not going to let you attack us at 4 in the morning when everyone's offline because it's an NA server. People go to sleep at, 2 in the morning. So they're going to be like, okay, we're going to set the time frame from, let's say, 6 p.m. Pacific to, 2 a.m. Pacific. Then the attacking team's going to say, all right, let's choose 4 hours within there to attack. So that there's actually people there to fight, and it's not just you walk into a zone and it's empty and dead.
Yeah.
And then let's see, new character. There we go. So like this is the races. You got your centaur, your horse people, your horses. You can be male, female. Elkin, they're deer people.
What are you, a gerbil?
Yeah, I'm a rat boy, which is called a Genesian.
Oh.
See, this is a rat boy.
What's KT?
What's what?
Or does KT not have this game?
Casey does not have this game. I have not shown him this. I've mentioned it, but I have not shown him like I'm showing you now because I just thought of doing this. But yeah, it can be Centaur.
What is this game called again?
Crowfall. It is in early access pre-alpha right now.
How do you find this game?
Because I watch a bunch of streamers, and this is one of the games that was going around. Because a lot of people were looking for like the new big Kickstarter games. This was one of the ones mentioned back then. It was Crowfall, Chronicles of Illyria, and Camelot Unchained were like the 3 big ones that like people were hyped for. Later down the road, Ashes of Creation popped up, but I think a lot of people are disappointed with how that's going or whatever because I haven't heard anything about that for a while.
I've heard the Chronicles of Illyria or whatever, or
yeah,
whatever it is.
But yeah, those were like some big ones that were going around and were popular amongst a bunch of streamers, especially the ones I watched. So I checked them out and I was like, all right. And then Crowfall was the first one to actually like give you something to work with. Because the thing is, Camelot Unchained just started doing their their testing for like people that paid back to them. Yeah. They just started doing that like 3 months ago. Chronicles of Illyria either hasn't started or has started for like only the people that have paid them like $1,000+.
Oh, damn.
Because these were Kickstarter games and stuff. Crowfall, I bought into Crowfall in 2015 because in 2015 they had what was called the Hunger Dome, which was effectively a Battle Royale mode because they didn't have, like, the MMO parts of it where you build up your gear and all that. All they really had was...
the combat?
You have a knight, the fire mage, and a centaur healer legionnaire thing. Like, it was like a fighting healer instead of just like a support healer. So it's like, those were the 3 classes they had. Then they added the champion, which was like a brawler / barbarian type thing. So it was like, pick one of these things, get on a random team of people, and then go try and take the, inner castle or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got 1 elf, then you got this elf. Then you got this elf. Then you got this elf, kinda. I guess these are kinda elves. But then you got this human. And then you got this human. Then you have half giants, which are kinda like they're half humans technically. Half elves are kinda elves also. Your deer people, your rat people, your horse people, your bull people, your rock people, and I'm not joking, these are rock people. They're people made of rocks. And then you got the classes over here, the assassin, champion, cleric, confessor, druid, duelist, knight, myrmidon, ranger, templar, and the frostweaver, which isn't in the game. And so you could be a horse person that's a champion or a cleric or a knight. They're more like tanky focused because even clerics are healers, but they're like tank healers. And you got the Elkin, which can be like fire mages or archers or different types of tank. The Fae, which are wing people, which can glide. They can be assassins or druids, nature mages, or frostweavers whenever that comes out. Rat boys, clerics, knights, or duelists. Duelist is what I play. That's the basic rundown of that. And then you can have multiple characters. Right now you have 6 character slots. I have a champion, a confessor, which I don't actually play. I use it because I needed a crafting character, because you have to slot in crafting runes and stuff to your crafters if you want them to be effective. Yeah. So I needed to make a second character because I'm not going to put crafting runes on my fighting character. That'd be stupid.
Yeah.
Why would I put crafting on my character when I need that extra 5% damage? Doesn't make any sense.
I feel you. That does make sense,
And then hopefully the queue is not full for the server I was in, because it would suck if I wasn't able to get back in. Alright, I'm in. And I have 6 minutes? 4 minutes? 3 minutes, and then the siege starts.
Oh, it looks pretty cool, to be honest.
Look at that. I was gonna say, this map isn't all green anymore. What am I? I'm in Crim. I mean, it's mostly green, but there are some people, they creeping in. You got, Order went over and took this zone. It's got an orange flag. These flags are black, which means Chaos took some of those. More Order over here. They're prepping for this siege by taking some of our outposts on the map. Hopefully that means people are going to be here. And yes, you can break the walls and stuff with catapults and stuff. That's how a siege works. You set up your catapults, you bombard the walls, break them, rush in. You got to kill that tree. That tree that's in that castle, that's technically what they're going to be going after.
Okay. Are you defending or attacking?
I'm defending because my faction owns all of the keeps. So right now we have to defend on 3 fronts at the same time. So probably trying to split people up in an effective way, which is what all the actual guilds are doing. Whereas I am not technically affiliated with a guild. I'm just here to chill. I also just realized if the zone who is for only people in my faction, we might have filled this server up to cap and there might not be anyone to come fight this tower. Which would suck. I want to kill people. Or at least help kill people. Because I rarely get the killing blow. It's the shitty thing about not being an actual tank while trying to be tanky. Also, why's the weather always got to be foggy when I'm doing a goddamn siege?
That's true.
Because they do have weather effects, and the fog lowers your draw distance slightly, so you can't see as far out on the horizon and stuff. Oh. Well, that's a thing. Which one of these leads up? 1 minute. 31 seconds. Thieves are now vulnerable to siege. Now, which way are they coming from? If they're even coming. You know what? I don't know why I'm burrowed either. I'm inside the walls. Although I have come to the conclusion, if someone chain pulls me off this wall, I am fucked. No one's in the tree. I don't see any catapults set up yet. Oh, nope, that's one of our teammates. They must be scouting. Or they all just went and attacked the keep I'm not at. I had a 1 in 3 chance of picking the right one. Or maybe a 2 in 3 chance of picking the right one if they actually went to fight 2 of them instead of just 1. And I see nobody yet. I'm not the only person scouting the walls for catapults either.
You're not?
Nope, because there are people up. I just saw like 2 people run past me. It's like they're probably trying to figure out which way they're going to attack from, if they're attacking. God damn it! This is one of the downfalls of this being pre-alpha. Is there's not like 5,000 people to play this game, so it's like you're not guaranteed a fight when stuff like this happens. Sadly.
Ah, that sucks, but I get it.
Yeah, when you're like active testing population is like in the 1300s, but that's scattered out between 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
Like even right now, I think that whenever I jumped back in earlier, I think it said there was like 312 people on the server, and that was getting ready for the siege. Oh, I picked the wrong one. Because they just said in chat, it looks like the other 2 keeps are on fire on the map, which means those are the ones that are getting active battles in them. Let's see. Campaign map. Which one was it? Nuzzle. Yep. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're out of a fight, because technically they have an hour to come attack us. If they decide to wait 30 minutes, then it's shitty because I have to sit here for 30 minutes, but they only get an hour to try and take our shit, and if they don't take it before that hour's up, even if they're in the middle of attacking, we get to keep it.
Really?
Yeah. That's how it's set up now, but in the actual game, again, you'll have those 4-hour attack windows, so you'll have 4 hours to do it. And it won't just be, because right now I don't think they have it set up to where it's a 2-sided siege. Because if you look at the top right now, you'll see that there's a health bar that says 100% and 0%.
Yeah.
What's supposed to happen is on the 0% side, where that blue tree icon is
Yeah.
they're supposed to plant what are called bane trees, and they can plant up to 3 of them. They don't have to if they're extremely competent. But
Yeah.
basically, their job is to get into our castle and break our, life tree, which is that big
Yeah.
tree. And the defender's job isn't just to sit in their castle and hide like little babies. The defender's
Yeah.
job is to get out there and take out their bane trees. Because I think in the real
Okay.
game, it'll be based off of the percentage of health of the trees total if the timer ends, or whichever team gets the other teams to 0 wins and keeps it.
Okay.
So, like, if they only plant 1 tree, that's bad. I hope I'm going towards the nearest door.
I mean, that makes sense though. Yeah.
But yeah, like, if they only plant 1 Bane tree, the Bane tree health bar only goes up to 33. And the Bane trees have 1/3 the health of the life tree. And the idea behind that is if they plant all 3 trees, then the people defending have to go out in 3 different directions to go get those trees. Because usually the trees are like one's to like one direction, one's to like the other third of a direction, and the other one's a third. So they're like, the trees are planted around the castle in like a way where, the people defending, if they want to win, they'd have to go out and actually like attack, but they have to split their forces, and then you have to decide, well, who do I leave, to defend, and who do I send to attack, and what group compositions do we want for the attackers versus defenders, and it becomes a big thing. And for the people that are attacking, because they also have to defend their trees, they can't just Hail Mary run into the walls and, smack the walls with their sword until the wall dies 20 minutes later. They have to actually be like, oh shit, we gotta defend our trees while also going to attack their walls with our, ballistas and our catapults and all that stuff before... And then while also defending their trees so the enemies don't just roll up and like gank their shit. Because when they were doing the first tests for this, before they had Big World, which is what this is, which is like the actual like alpha, they had like a pre-alpha where basically they just had 1 castle and they had like all the trees set up, and it was just like, go into this and, break the walls, break the trees, do whatever. And like a lot of times, because I played assassin during that, I would literally just go invisible, go to one of the enemy trees that didn't have anyone there, and just start beating the shit out of the tree. And then I die after getting it like a third of the way dead, because the Bane trees actually have like a death aura around them. Because they're not meant for one person to run in and just attack in the back line, so you'd at least need a healer with you. Because it just continues to stack damage on you, and then either you get healed through it, or you have to like jump out and wait a minute for the like stacks to fall off so it doesn't do as much damage. Ah, the fog's gone. I can see now.
I mean, that makes sense though.
So either nothing's happening at the other 2 keeps, or the other 2 keeps are in a heated battle because no one responded to me asking if there were fights at the other 2 keeps. What's this give? No, I don't need that. Oh, is there a campfire in here?
Maybe.
Where's the way down? Okay, no, that's not my sensitivity. It is lagging because there's like 50 people here.
Does it lag too often or just sometimes?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it gets laggy with sieges regardless. I've never lagged to the point of crashing is the thing, but... And I have a moderately decent computer, considering I made it 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But... lag's never really an issue for me, except for, again, like, this is a siege where there's 50 people on my team standing outside in these walls, and then if there were other people, that's not a campfire, that's a sacrifice pit. That's a sacrifice pit. Oh, wait. Can I use the cooking station as a campfire? Cooking. There we go, campfire. By the way, this is crafting. Very basic level crafting, because I'm just making food so I don't starve to death.
Yeah.
If I add garlic to it. Alright, I have food. Repelled the invaders. God damn it. But this could be a trap. They could be waiting for us to wait until we think they're not here. And then when everyone's leaving because they think they're not here, they show up. Ultimate
Your
strategy.
character looks hella funny running.
Why? Because of his little waddle? Because he's wearing fucking heavy armor as a tiny rat boy?
Yeah. Have you fought anyone?
Nope.
Where are they?
They probably gave up, because like I said, if you look in the bottom right, that's the timer for the campaign. Because, oh, that's something I forgot to mention. The big thing about Crowfall is they have what are called dying worlds. So every campaign is like a new world to begin in and start with and battle for supremacy and stuff like that. So it's not like, you know, a WoW scenario where you go in the map, one team takes over everything, and then the other teams can't do shit. Because eventually the worlds die out, and you have to restart on a new world. But they do have what's called a spirit bank, which is what this thing that I just opened up. So you can, like, take stuff out of the world, like, when the world, right before the world ends, and then you can, depending on the rules for the new campaign, they might say you can bring in 20 items, you can bring in 100 items, or something like that. So you can, like, take your gear, like I could take I got someone to craft me a green quality rapier. So it's like, this is a pretty good rapier. It's got 75 to 98 damage with plus 42 attack power and some crit chance and crit damage. So when this world is going to be over in 2 days, some hours, whatever it said in the bottom right, I can take this, put it into my bank, and then take that to my Eternal Kingdom, which is my personal playhouse. Which, you know, I refer to the EKs as Barbie doll dress-up house because that's literally all they are. It's just your instance of a permanent thing that you can put castles in and build up to do whatever you want. I'm not going to do all that. I'm going to put as many storage boxes in there as I can and just dump all my shit in there because that's all it's good for. Yeah. Some people like to build, you know, I've been to some people's EKs and they go out of their way to use, because the castles mostly, like the center area, like that's pre-built, but these walls and stuff aren't pre-built. So you can like this thing I'm standing on now is one section of a wall. This back piece is a section of a wall. This piece with this little ramp is a section of the wall. So like you can choose like how to build up your walls and if you want them to be too high and stuff like that. And then, you know, I've seen some people make some pretty interesting looking like super castles, and it's like, yeah, that's cool and all. Doesn't serve any purpose in your EK though. It's just now if you put your goddamn chest on the top of that castle, now you have to spend 20 minutes running up your castle every time you want to. Wait a minute. God damn it. That's another ally. Also, it's foggy again. Getting my goddamn hopes up. But yeah, so basically, the world's gonna die in 2 days. So the reason someone said in chat that, you know, the other teams might have just given up because we've got a 3 million point lead on the team in second.
Yeah.
There's not really much chance they'd have to come back from that. So if they gave up, they're probably not gonna show up to fight, which kind of sucks because I wanted to fight. But there's nothing you can do about that. But the idea of the dying worlds is, yeah, we've got a 3 million point lead, but in 2 days this world's going to end. Everyone's going to take whatever they want out of it, whether it be the gold they farmed or their gear and all that stuff, whatever materials, because there's harvesting and crafting, like, fuck it. Hold on. Jump down this wall by burrowing. And because, you know, if I die, I die. Oh well. I shouldn't be outside the walls like a dumbass, but You can roll up to, like, nodes, and it's like, oh, I go to this ore, get out my pickaxe. That's rank 10 ore. Never mind. I'm going to go to an ore that's not rank 10. It's also rank 10 ore. I'm going to go find something I can actually mine with my shitty pickaxe. Here. This is shit ore, but still. So you can, like, roll around and be like, oh, look, stuff for me to harvest. And you go in and, like, they have what they call active harvesting. So it's not like you go something and you push F. You actually have to, like, basically attack the thing with your tool. And what they added is they added what's called weak spots, which that white thing that just popped up on that one I hit, which is when you're mining, if you're actually paying attention and not just holding left click and watching YouTube while you're waiting for something to break, you can hit one of these white spots when it's not in the grass, and it does double damage to the node, so you harvest it faster and you have a chance of getting extra loot from it. You can, like, harvest these resources, and then you take these resources, you go craft stuff, and it's like, oh, look at this. No, that's still rank 10, goddammit. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, first off, they did the thing I was just talking about. Remember when I said they're going to wait for us to not think they're here, and then they're going to be like, oh, we're going to do the thing. They did the thing. Look at that. There's a health bar. They planted one of their trees. Cheeky bastards. I'll go attack that tree, even though my teammates are asking me not to attack the tree because they want people to actually show up. Oh, they said their friends are testing something and they need that tree. I'll believe you for now. What? Oh shit, they got trebuchets over there too. Let me just not be on this wall while it's being hit by those. They let one of their friends on the enemy team plant a tree so they could practice using their trebuchets and catapults. By the way, that's a catapult. And those are trebuchets. Those are siege weapons, obviously. That's what they do. Oh, are people fighting? I want to fight. Hey, we won! Because we broke a tree that one random person planted because they were trying to test something. How do I get this off my screen? Yay, we accomplished nothing. What's this? Oh, that was a siege. Because nobody showed up, sadly. So.
And so, in my eyes, when we do the, or even.
Oh, you're watching TV. I was gonna say, wait a minute. I hear a black man.
The raid and hit every item in the array. Now with option E.
Well,
like
that is that for Crowfall.
So I believe that's something repeated. So is it the cycle through the array?
If you have any questions, ask me a question.
I don't really have any questions. I guess, can you build? No, I'm pretty sure you can't build it.
Well, yes and no. Currently, no, because we're in pre-alpha, and they're not going to give us free ability to build on land. The castles and everything are already pre-built, and we just take them over. The idea is later on they will have areas you can capture and then build up on your own, and you can place the wall. You can place you build up the main thing, and it'll put a castle, and then you'll build the walls how you want to build the walls within a certain radius of that, and stuff like that. So building is planned for like campaign worlds. You can build in your EK as much as you want if you have pieces for it.
Yeah.
But again, if you want your dollhouse to look pretty, even though you're just gonna store random shit in it, knock yourself out. You know, if you're the type of person that plays Minecraft on survival and actually builds a mansion instead of building a giant square box that has like 30,000 chests in it, then you'd probably like doing that in an EK. I'm the person that plays Minecraft, and then I'm like, okay, my house is going to be a 10 by 10 square. And then when I run out of storage spells, I'm like, storage space. I'm like, okay, now it's going to be a 20 by 10 square. And now a 20 by 20 square. And I just add more squares to it because squares are nice, and you can't make circles in Minecraft.
Yeah, you can.
Not real circles. You can make that like knock out 2 blocks and then like go diagonally and then like go around diagonally and then knock out another 2 blocks on like one edge, and it looks like some weird effed up like multi-sided like double stop sign kind of.
I know what you mean.
But yeah, so building is planned. They're going to have different types of campaign zones. So like the campaign they're doing all the tests on for the pre-alpha, this is the 3-faction campaign. They're going to have 4 different campaign types. Or I think they lowered it to 3 because they didn't really see a point in the second one. But basically, there's the 3-faction, which is you jump in, you join a team, you're on that team. Hopefully you make friends on that team and eventually join a guild, and then your guild, goes off and does shit. The second ones are going to be the 12 faction, which is the lore of the game is there's 12 gods, blah 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 blah. The gods are aligned by there's 4 gods on like the chaotic side, 4 gods on the side of order, and 4 gods on the side of balance. So when you play the 3 factions, you're basically choosing which set of 4 gods you want to follow. In the 12 faction, you're choosing 1 god to follow. Then they have the guild wars areas, which is you don't follow anyone. The highest allegiance is your guild. Your guild takes over territory. Your guild's alliances take over territories. Your alliances betray each other. There's espionage. There's spies. That's where the real shit happens. But they haven't decided. They used to have the idea of a quote free for all. Not in the sense that it's every person for themselves, but free-for-all meant, like, guild mode plus, where instead of, like, in the original guild mode, they were like, okay, if a guild alliance wins, the alliance wins. And people have the ability to kneel to, like, the winning side. So, like, if you're losing, you're like, hey, let us join you. You can offer something to the winning team, and they can be like, okay, you can join our alliance for now and, like, let you in if you give them, like, 1,000,000 gold or some shit like that.
Yeah.
And then the free-for-all was supposed to be not one-man army, one person wins. It was supposed to be, like, guild only, so no alliances win. Like, even if you're in an alliance that's, like, really big and your alliance is winning, only one guild in that alliance could win. But they couldn't think of, like, ways they could justify the different variants of that. So there was talk of them only having 3 types of things, and talks of them maybe keeping the 4 and just, seeing how it works or whatever. So I don't know where that's going, but that's going to be a thing. So the general idea is you go in, like, new players should go into the factions. You're going to be put on one of 3 teams, so you have a 1 in 3 chance of winning. Hopefully you make some friends, or you and your friends get used to the game and can, take a harder thing. Find a guild, maybe join a guild, then go to the 12 faction. Now it's a 1v1v1v1v1, etc. till you get to 12 people. So you have a 1 in 12 chance of winning. And then eventually the idea is veteran players will end up in guilds and play the veteran campaigns, which are going to be for the guilds, whether it's the guild one or the Dregs one, which was the free for all, quote unquote, whatever variant of guild one they have, and veterans will go to that. Casual players will probably stick to either the 3 faction or the 12 faction, and new players should probably stick to the 3 faction until they get used to things. The thing was, to get high tier resources, you'd have to go into the harder worlds. So like right now, they kind of just have everything like doled out. Like when I was going to show you the harvesting a few minutes ago, I kept saying not hitting this, it's rank 10 because I'm using a basic pickaxe. My basic pickaxe can't do shit to a rank 10 node. Well, the idea is the lower rings are going to have, like, rank 1 to 3 nodes, and like maybe 1 to 4. So like you only need like basic stuff to be able to mine them, but that means you can't get legendary rarity stuff. Like, hold on, let's see. Like right now in my inventory, I have this soft hide. It's rare. It's blue quality. That's better than green quality and better than white quality, but not as good as purple or orange. So you're not gonna find this. You're not gonna find that in the lower ring. So when you're crafting and you're like, oh, I need to use, you want to use better quality stuff because better quality stuff gets you better quality final product, which gets you more points. Ooh, you know what? Actually, I'll show you that next. That is something I can show you. Because the crafting in this game is actually pretty interesting when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So I will show you how to make tools, because that is the craft I go with, because I'm a lazy fuck, and the only thing I actually plan on making is tools so I can harvest the stuff to make more tools. Because fuck blacksmithing, that shit takes forever and has like to get one piece of armor, you need to make like 12 different things. I ain't into that. There are people that are into that. I'm not. I make tools because tools have 3 pieces. Alright. You know what? I need a knife anyways. I'll make a knife. 3 of those. Was it? Let me check something real quick on the Googles. And by the Googles, I mean go to the Winterblades website and figure out what crafting combination gives me the proper thing. And that's another thing about the crafting that I'll mention. The reason I'm pausing right now is, like, I have all these 5 different types of ore. When you craft certain things, it doesn't require you to use, like, there's no, like, you need to use iron for this. It's not like, okay, I'm making a knife, put in, a hilt and 2 iron, like Minecraft. It's put in a hilt and 2 ores, and depending on what ores you use, you might get bonus effects. So, if I wanted bonus harvests to animal, I would do tin and copper. Tin, copper, and then parchment. Alright, so here's crafting. This is the crafting I can do, is tools. So rune making. Rune components. So right here, it's like stone. Doesn't specify a type of stone. Sadly, this is one of the things that doesn't actually have a benefit for using any specific thing. So down here, it shows you the difficulty and success rate of trying to, like, craft something. Because you gain stats for crafting, and it gets harder or more difficult based off of those stats. Like, if I go to, let's find something that I'm not good at. So, like, if I go to this general crafting station, it has blacksmithing as an option. If I go into my blacksmithing and I'm like, oh, I want to make some carbon, I don't have a lot of points in blacksmithing. So I only got, like, so my stats bring my total blacksmithing thing up to 14. But the difficulty for this recipe is 25. So I only have an 89% chance of succeeding. Which means I could fail to craft carbon if I wanted to make carbon. Or if I went to intermediate, I don't think there's really anything. All these are basic things because I don't have all the other. I don't have other recipes unlocked. But basically, it shows you like how hard it would be for you to craft that thing, because you can fail a craft, and if you fail a craft, it'll either destroy the item if it's too low tier, or it'll make it drop a tier. So if you use like green rarity stuff and you fail, it'll become a white. And that sucks. Green rarity is obviously better than white. So you go in, drop your resources, assemble. I succeeded. But what makes this interesting is you build up a stat that gives you experimentation. So you go in, and then you can add stuff based off of a number of pips to your things. Like this random stone, I can add durability to. So right now I have 80. My stat for experimentation is 80, and then, you know, this is the difficulty of it, and then I can modify the difficulty to get extra bonuses, and then I experiment. So it went from having a 40 durability to having a 47 durability. This is low tier stuff, so I can't use all of my stats on it. So I was making a knife, paper, tin, copper. So because I used tin and copper, this knife sigil I made has a new statistic for beneficial harvest on animals. It makes my ability to cut animals and like harvest them for leather and meat better. And then I go to next. Because this is only white quality though, even though I have like 16 pips up here, like this is my total experimentation I could do. I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, I've got 13. White quality stuff, you can only put 4 pips per section. So, because of that, I'm wasting 5 pips right now. If it was green, I could put in 5, blue, 6, purple, 7 or 8, and then legendary, you can put in all of them. So, the more experimentation you do, the more bonuses you get. But because this is trash tier stuff, I can't get like super high bonuses on it. Which is why you want to use better stuff, because I'm wasting 5 things, and that could be an extra, like, 40% bonus to the thing. So right now it's at 75 durability with 5 beneficial harvest. I can experiment, and then it's now got 97 durability, and I got 0.07 beneficial harvest. Both of the stats went up. And then let me go grab some dust real quick. I don't remember if it was 5 or 2, so I'm just going to take 5. And roll up to here. And then I can combine all the stuff I just crafted. And now I'm making a fancy knife. I have a 98% chance of succeed. And then I can add to the skinning and the durability, because right now my knife's only got a +5. +5's kind of trash. But because I took the extra risk, I'm instead of getting 0 bonus per point, I'm getting a 4% bonus per each of these I'm spending, assuming they succeed and don't fail. So if I run my experiment, I got a 30% bonus to skinning, 25% bonus to that. So now my skinning went from 5 to 21. Now I have a pretty decent knife. This knife could probably harvest stuff up to like rank 6 effectively. It could still probably harvest a rank 10, but you'd be doing like 20 damage per hit. Yeah. Because when you harvest things, they have health bars, and you're damaging the item to certain points to get the resources. So now that I'm actually on a character that has tools, I can go outside this fort real quick. By the way, this is a fort, not a castle. That's why it's got wooden walls. It's got a tiny thing in the middle. Doesn't have all the fancy shit. So, like, right out here, some ores. I'm like, I want those. Take my pickaxe. 47. 47. Hit the weak spot. 61. Hit the weak spot. 61. Also, before I forget, I need to swap my passive real quick. And then there's also like an extra harvesting mini game, because you get pips for harvesting as you're like hitting stuff, and you can like spend those for bonuses. You can like, 1 pip gives you extra damage for a short amount of time. 2 pips lets you find weak spots more often. 3 is gain some stamina, so you don't have to stop and run around in a circle like I'm doing. Which you don't have to do the running around in a circle part. I just get bored whenever I run out of stamina. And then 5 is you get like a super powered hit. So you go up and
wait, when the fuck did he change?
Who? Me?
What?
What are we talking about?
When did he change characters?
A while ago. The entire time I've been talking about crafting, I've changed characters, because this is my crafting character.
I just saw the menus up.
But yeah, like literally the second I was like, oh yeah, let me show you crafting, I was like, I switched characters because this is my crafting character who also has all my tools, because until the campaign ends, I can't really take my tools. I mean, I could, but then I'd be wasting slots, because if I press B, whenever at the end of the campaign, I only get to take out 148 stacks of items.
Yes.
I can bring in 150 if I had any to bring in. So you're limited by the campaign types, you know, how much you can take in and how much you can take out. Sometimes they're going to do campaigns where you can't bring anything in, so everyone has to start as a naked baby. And they have to go out and harvest resources like bitch boys, even though they're not harvesters, before they can go out and do the PvP.
Yeah.
And then, so crafting can get pretty intricate. Again, if you like doing all the like experimentation, like rolling your dice and gambling, pretty much, because that's effectively what the experimentation is you're gambling to try and get better stats, because you can increase the difficulty of something to get more stats, but if you increase the difficulty and you critical failures take away like 30% of your bonuses. And you can go negative on your bonus, so you can start out worse than where you started if you get 2 critical failures in a row.
Yeah.
Drop that off. Now I got more tin. Put my dust back. Like that, I've collected a couple different rarities of leather before the campaign ended, and that's another thing about seasons I mentioned earlier. For the seasons in the bottom, you can see that it has like a leaf, a sun, a leaf, and a thing. You know, spring, summer, winter, fall. Oh, and he's dead. If you're in okay, he's back. Did you die? What happened?
I don't know how much you disconnected.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I was gonna say there's like, wait, what was I saying? I was saying there was different rarities of stuff. Oh, I was talking about seasons. So in the seasons, what they do is they actually affect the outcome of certain things in the game. So in spring, you get a harvesting bonus where you have what's called plentiful resources, which means all the stuff you mine has a higher chance of dropping a lot more loot, because in the spring, the world is plentiful with loot and stuff like that. So if I go out and look at a rock, shit, it's winter. Alright, see how this random rock says Plentiful Harvest 1 because it's a basic bitch resource and doesn't get consumed by the world? That means even if I started to harvest right now, I'm barely going to get shit from this rock. Plentiful Harvest can go up to 5, and the higher it is, the more stuff you get and the more stuff you're likely to get out of it. So, during the spring, you get 2 bonus little diamonds, so you get 2 ranks higher in your harvesting. During the summer, you get 1 rank higher, but in fall, you lose a rank, and in winter, you lose 2 ranks. That's why if I go up to this rock, because I've lost 2 ranks and I don't have the harvesting stats for rocks yet, this rock ain't gonna give me shit. Like, you could harvest a rock in the spring, and you could get from 1 rock, you could get like 22 of the resource. But in winter, as it is now, I could probably mine this entire thing. And let's see how many I get. There's 1. And now I'm out of stamina. Oh, actually, let me eat. I hunger. Also, they have chicken tickers like Minecraft, so you know when you're hungry.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
So because it's winter, I just harvested that entire rock, and that was a rank 7 rock. The higher the rank, the more rare the resources, or the more chance of getting higher tier resources it is, and the more resources it has in it in general. That was a rank 7, but because it's winter, I got 2 resources out of that instead of like the 20 I would have normally gotten. So, but what the trade-off with that is if you look in the top right now, this fort has a capture pool of 28,000 points. So basically, because they don't want people to just steamroll and win the game by just, having all the shit. The longer a team keeps an area, it starts accruing a pool of points. So, like, this fort is worth, every 20 minutes, this fort gives my team 25 points. Out of those 25 points, like, 2 to 5 points go into this, wait, that's not the fort. Hold on, I need to zoom in. There we go. Okay, it's 500 points per turn-in for the fort. But every time it does a turn-in, so every 20 minutes my team holds this fort, it adds like 50 points to the capture bonus. The capture bonus doesn't do anything for my team. What it does is, if another team comes in and takes this fort, their score will instantly jump up 28,000 points, even though they weren't holding the fort this whole time. But what it is in the spring, that multiplier is only a 1. In summer, it's 2. In fall, it's 3. And in winter, it's 4. So the idea is, in the spring, the buildings aren't really worth all that much. You still need them because every bit you can get ahead of your enemies is keeping you ahead later on. But they're not really worth that much effort. So in the spring is like when you want to have your like guilds and stuff focus on getting the resources and stocking up on like high rarity gear and stuff. So when you go into your fights, and risk losing that gear, because like right now my book's about to break. When my book breaks, I gotta go get a new book.
Go get a new book.
I mean, I could do that now, but I'm lazy. Also, this isn't a fighting character, so I don't care if my book breaks. But so the idea is like in the early seasons when you're getting those bonuses to harvesting, you want to capture some things, but you want to really get all those resources so that you can stock up and like get geared up for like the big finishing fights, because the game, you might be winning by like 5 million points in spring. Fall comes around and everything's worth 3x points whenever they get taken, and it's like, okay, you've been sitting on this castle for like, we've probably held this fort for about 3 days, which is why it's at 28,000, because I'm pretty sure sometime like midweek last week I was here and we did get raided by another team and they took this fort from me, which I was pissed because this fort's really close to our temple spawn and next to a rank 10 spider group, so that's where I was trying to level. So it kind of sucked that I lost this fort. So we've had this fort for about 3 days and it's worth 28,000 points times 4. Now I'm no math person, but if I made that 28,000 30,000, because that's an easier number that has more zeros in it, and then I multiplied that by 4, that'd be 120,000 points. So even though Chaos is down by 3 mil, they could instantly get 100,000 points just taking this fort. And that's before getting and then afterwards they get 500 points per 20 minutes for this fort. So the idea is, if you were sitting on this fort for like since spring started, and then all of a sudden it turns winter, and you've had this fort for like 3 weeks, and this fort's worth like 2.5 million points, and then someone takes this fort from you and has a 4x multiplier, they just made 10 million points.
Oh wow.
So in the winter, you gotta hardball, like defend your shit. You gotta make sure people aren't stealing your high priority areas. You gotta make sure they're not getting those siege castles. You gotta make sure, you gotta split up your people in a smart way, because if you send all your people to defend this fort, because it's got a 2.5 mil multiplier on it, or 2.5 mil capture pool with a 4x multiplier, but if you don't defend your siege castle, and your siege castle gets taken, well then they take the siege castle and they get 2,000 points per turn-in. And like maybe like a 1 mil total from like taking it, because the siege castles typically flip a lot more than everything else. Because people don't actually care about going and capturing out these places most of the time. They just take the ones closest to their base. But it's like, if you send all your people to defend this, well then they got a castle. If you send all your people to defend a castle, they go take this fort and to get all the points. And then it's like, oh shit, you gotta divide and conquer. You can't be sending all your good people to one place and then having the other place get taken. You gotta watch your back line. And that's where it becomes a throw and more thing, because then you gotta like figure out, where do you send your troops? Where, who's going where? What places are we willing to lose if we had to lose them, and what places can't we afford to lose? And you get into that super in-depth cycle of thinking and bullshittery and all that. And that's pretty much it. I've shown you crafting. I've kind of showed you combat when I fought those bull things. I mean, I could show you combat as a fire thing real quick, because this uses mana. But the reason I don't like classes that use mana sometimes is, this is my basic attack. But look at my mana bar. This is one of the reasons I will probably never play a caster in this game.
That's pretty cool. The casters look sick, though.
I mean, I can go find some, I know there's some bull things over here. I can go fight them with my fire mage. Because I was going to say, they've got the fire mage, which is the confessor. They've got a druid, which can do, like, chain lightning, and they have, you know, they have, like, earth lightning, and I don't even know what to call the death tray on it.
Your stream looks really good, by the way.
My what? Oh, thank you. I was gonna say, I don't know what I'm streaming at. Can you bring up that stream stats thing? Am I at 720 or am I at 1080?
1080p, actually.
Shit.
Wow, good shit.
I didn't know I could stream at 1080. Also, I'm not going to pretend like I knew what I did whenever I was setting up my stream with OBS. I just watched what some other streamer had set up, and I copied all his shit. If I get that too close to these archers, they're just going to shoot him. So I'm going to go fight the elk. Also, sadly, I can't show you any good ults in this game because both of the characters I have don't have actual ults that are good. Because I was going to say, on the bottom, you can see that my Q thing is pulsing. That means I've got my ultimate, but my ultimate for the fire thing isn't like a damage ult. It's an escape. Basically, what it does is it turns you invisible, and you get to run away for like 5 seconds. You become immune to damage, and then you just pop out somewhere. Oh, and if you were paying attention while I was doing that, you might have noticed that these elk, they went from being elk to being demon blue elk.
Those look fucking sick, though.
The demon elk? Yeah, that's because, again, lore stuff, hunger is consuming the world, and that's why the worlds are dying, is because hunger is not hunger as in, oh, I'm starving, but hunger is in like a semi-ethereal, like, bullshit corruption or some bullshit like that, is like eating the worlds and corrupting them and destroying them from the inside. So at night, the corruption takes over the worlds, and all of the normal animals turn from regular animals into these, like, corrupted, like, bony, demon-looking things, basically. So then I can attack that. Attack that. What is it? 7, 7. Knock that up. Into the air. Charge Meteor Strike. More into Flame. And 7. 7. E. Launch a tornado. Knock him into the air. I use my ult on accident again. Resolve Sin. Recharge my mana because I'm out, because I basic attacked and spam spells too much. Oh, I shouldn't have torrented a flame there. Meteor Strike. And this is how, like, a basic fire mage plays. And launch him up, and he's dead. And then I get loot. Some gold. Grab some gold. Motherfucker.
Oh!
This motherfucker, I want my loot. Let me go to this one. My gold. Alright, this one's body sank into the ground and I can't get my loot. I'm upset.
I'm upset.
I'm mad, bro. What the fuck? Wait, it moved.
Hey there.
Hold on. Yo, what's good?
What's up?
Hey, got my loot.
Much. How are you guys?
Good. I'm just watching Shadow play this game. That looks pretty cool.
What game?
Crowfall.
Crowfall. What he said.
What type of game is that?
It is a MMO Throne War Simulator PvP
I'll give you a link.
game. Yeah, I was gonna say if you can. There's no siege happening right now, and I already gave him the huge spiel. So if you want to like go to the playback and just like skip through a bunch of things, like skip the first like 15, 20, 25, probably 30 minutes.
Pretty much what happens is that their like teams could fight each other for land, and they could do these things and use abilities and drop down like trees to help you regen. But you could also fuck those trees up, and you could fuck each other up. And there's different zones in the siege where people are fighting, and the chat goes crazy. And then like
Yeah.
in the night, like all
Mm,
the monsters turn evil, but they look all beautiful and shit. So
mm,
it's like they're not
I
that
was gonna
evil
say
because
some
they're
of the
pretty.
monsters are already evil before that happens. The elk are just
Yeah,
passive during the day, but then once they become corrupted, they're gonna rip you a new asshole. But some of the
kind of like
monsters are
Spider-Man
already just
Mafia.
complete dicks, like the Hellcats. They're basically
Yeah.
asshole cat tiger things that are like, I'm gonna kill you, whether it's daytime or nighttime. Spiders also
Yeah,
don't
what
care if
he
it's
said.
daytime or nighttime. They're spiders. They're gonna fuck you up whenever they feel like it.
Oh, nice. You have 4 viewers.
I'm pretty sure
That's
I'm one of them,
cool.
and you two are probably the other two.
She's not even in here.
Well then,
I
I don't
am
know.
in here.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
if you're in chat,
Yeah,
say
and I was
hi.
gonna say it's
I
got a
love
pretty
you.
in-depth, crafting system, which I showed him also.
It's too much. Don't
I
even
mean,
ask.
look, it is a lot. Like I said, I was gonna say if you look at the VOD for this, it's probably like well, I'm pretty sure it's actually gone over an hour at this point.
Yeah, it's a lot. A lot.
So, and that was an
Yeah.
hour. The first 15 minutes was me dicking around because I didn't know what to show him because I was trying to wait for a siege to happen that inevitably didn't happen because my team's winning so hard. Well, not my team, but the team I am
Yeah.
on. I've not done shit.
Mm.
I've got. Let's go look.
You
Let's go
should.
look at my scoreboard real quick. Let me see how far down on the scoreboard I am for helping my team. It's just. All right, so let's see. These are all the big guilds gonna show up here real quick.
You should like um upload that VOD to YouTube and be like, Crowfall explained it to a friend.
I mean, I could do that. I have a YouTube channel. Don't know who'd watch it, but still. All right, let's look. There's players. This is the top player. Let's see how far I get to scroll down the list before I find me. Wait for it. Oh, I passed myself apparently. Go back up. There we go. I'm only like, 342nd on the scoreboard. Oh wait, my score went up. Did my score go up because I was in a siege that we won that nobody attacked?
Probably.
That's dumb. Because I was in the 50s earlier, and now my score's up to 80 something. But yeah, I'm still probably like ranked like 300, 200, something like that. I didn't do much. I did enough though. But my team's dominating the map, so nobody wanted to fight us anymore because we're already ahead by 3 million points. And they only have 2 days to try and pass us before this world dies. Because one of the things Fran didn't mention when he was explaining how it worked is this game is set up to have campaigns instead of just being a static thing. Like, this isn't PlanetSide, where you go into the map, you go fight for something, you lose it, then you go fight for something and lose it, and then do that forever. This is Crowfall. You go in, you fight for something, you lose it, you do that for, 2 months, or however long the campaign lasts, and then the campaign's going to close, a winner's going to be declared, and then they're going to reset, make a new world with an entirely new map, because they've got random map generation crap. I forgot the word for it. Procedurally generated.
Oh,
There we go.
procedural?
Yeah, they've got procedurally generated maps, so you're not. This isn't an instance of all right, drop into like if PlanetSide reset their map, it'd be like whoop-de-doo, all the stuff's in the same place. But because this is all procedurally generated, every new campaign has its own unique worlds that are set up differently, have their own layouts. They plan on having, more diverse resources so that, certain worlds might be super abundant in one resource and, like, super, like, lacking in others. So, like, if you get a desert campaign, you might find a lot more rock and ore, but you might be hard finding those trees. But you need those trees to craft. But you're in a desert. There aren't trees in a desert. Or you might have a world that's, like, super rich in flora and fauna, but then You know, you can get like really good amounts of iron and gold, but silver and copper don't grow in that world for some reason. So it's like they plan on having like all these different modifiers for the different worlds and different campaign types that make each world unique and to its own, so that like even when if your team loses, you go into the next world, but it's not oh look, we're going into the next world, we know where best castle A, B, and C are, let's go there. Everyone has to go into a world and figure things out, except not right now, because since we're in pre-alpha, they just give you the entire map as soon as you spawn. But later on, you're going to have people that actually have the cartography skill that go out and clear the fog of war on the map, and then actually use like parchment and stuff to create maps to allow people to update their map visibility.
That's cool.
So they've got they plan on having a good loop for people that want to just craft. Like, you can be a crafter, you're going to have combat skills and level up a bit. But if you don't want to fight, have good bodyguards. If your bodyguards keep you safe, then you can just craft all day, every day. You know, you can get people that go out and harvest stuff for you, bring you like a stack of 3,000 ore, and then you just go dink, 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 and then you pump out, like 3 suits of armor with that 3,000 ore.
Yeah.
And I'm not joking, unless they've lowered the amount of ore that stuff costs. I'm pretty sure last time I had a set of armor made for me, it cost me about 2,500 ore. Ridiculous. But I think they did lower it a bit, but I'm not sure by how much. It still takes 12 different components to make one piece of, like, plate gear or something like that, but... well, I'm a fesser, but I don't need what they're selling. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not doing anything at this point but running around in this base and somersaulting, because you get a tiny, like, half frame of upskirt when I do that. Put my stuff away, and then I'm just going to close this, and then we can play something.
What?
I don't know. What do y'all play that isn't Board Game Online or Apex? Actually, let's play Apex. You know what? Screw it. I haven't played Apex in like 3 days.
I'm down. Bob, you want to play? Oh no, you're busy.
Yeah, I can't play right now.
You're not busy. You're on Discord.
She's just hanging out with me.
Ah. We'll hang out with each other on the game.
No,
I can't. Yeah.
She has to do some work, so...
Alright, well, I'm going to shut down the stream and we can jump on Apex.
Sure.